First thing you're gonna do is sculpt an apple slice. Okay, so you want it thicker on one end. Okay. So thick on the back end, kind of clean it up, about the thickness of your finger. And then as we're going to come around, we are going to take all of this excess clay and pinch it down into a slope, something like that. Okay, kind of smooth it out. And then all this is kind of extra, so I can take all that, cut that off. Okay, so we have more of an apple slice. Okay, set that to the side. Then we're going to take another piece of clay, and we are going to create approximately the size of a cutie orange slice. So it's about half the size of the apple slice. Same exact shape. Doesn't have to be quite as narrow right here, but it can be. It's not going to hurt anything. And then we're going to go ahead and attach it here on the slab, the cutie orange. And create some slip over here to the side. Go ahead and attach that on. Use a tool to blend it. Or you can just use your fingers if you don't have a tool. So I'm just kind of getting in there and blending it down, cleaning it up. I'm going to do the same thing in the front. So what we're doing here is we're creating the conch shell of the ear, or the conch, concha or concha, depending on who you talk to. And then we're going to take that apple slice. We're going to go ahead and set it on top. Okay, like that. And then I am going to blend that down. Okay. And then again in the back, lift it up. I want to seal the back. Okay, kind of blend that together. Okay. All right. All right, and now we have the basic shape of the ear here. And now we can start really shaping things the way we want. So with this, what I want to do first is grab some kind of needle tool or stick something with a pointy end to kind of help me guide my lines. And I think I'm just going to use the end of this. I'm going to go halfway through the ear. Okay. And you pick which is going to be your top. This is going to be my top. This is going to be my bottom. Okay. And then I'm going to take and roll a tiny little coil. So I'm going to use a piece about the size of a marble. And I'm going to roll with my fingertips. I'm going to roll a coil that is quite small, maybe the size of a pencil. Okay, so like the thickness of a pencil. Okay. And I'm going to take that and I'm going to go from this part, I'm going to go slightly in. I'm going to wrap this around all the way down. Okay, just to kind of give myself some guideline here. And I'm going to go about halfway or 3/4 of the way down the ear. And I'm going to slowly kind of blend it down or angle cut it. Okay, then I'm going to take that and I'm going to attach it. Got that little part a little thin. Okay, so I want to blend that down. I don't want to blend it too much because this is actually the this is the helix of the ear, or it's going to be the beginning of the helix. And whereas this is going to be the, what do you call it, the helical crus that comes in towards the ear. And I'll blend that in, blend that around. And then clean it up a little bit, put it back. We're gonna do a lot of carving, so don't worry about how thick this is right now. You've gotta have clay to begin with to be able to carve away. So I'm just kind of blending this in. And blending it down to kind of show. And now, if we look at this ear, what we're wanting to do is we are wanting to create the under part of the helix, which is called the scapha. And all of this part underneath is shadowed, because if you look at the ear here, okay, we are going to try to create this undercut through here. So I'm going to take my tool, my clay's a little soft, it's not very stiff, and I'm going to intentionally, starting here, not carve deep there, but as I wrap around, I'm going to intentionally carve out some of that area and give it a nice sharp undercut, especially as we wrap around to this side. We want to have that undercut here. Okay, and that's going to create the beginning of that other part of the ear. Okay, so from here you might need some other carving tools, something like this, or there's round ones. You might want to use a round one for this part. And I'm going to be carving in right here just a little, okay? And then there's a part here that is a Y shape, okay? It's like this, or a V. So if I show you this picture, I want to carve out this section right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create that little V by carving in that shape of the V, okay? And leaving that right there. I'm gonna kind of soften that, and soften this, and this does carve a little deeper as well. I'm gonna go ahead and carve that out. Leave this sticking up, but back here, this is also a little deeper. I'm gonna go ahead and carve that away. Okay, and down inside of here, the shadow looks a little deeper as well, so I'm gonna go ahead and carve that a little bit more away. And everybody's ears are different, but the main pieces are there. Okay, so from here, I'm gonna take this right here and I'm gonna push it back. So all of this right here, this conch area, it carves down and around to that lobe area. So I'm gonna kind of mark that out, the lobe. So here's my lobe, okay? And here's the little integral notch right there. And then here is the, what we would call the tragus, okay? Is the below here. But what I wanna do is take all this clay right through here as this comes down, and I'm going to push it back and away, okay? So I'm pushing that back and away, creating that U shape. Okay, and we're going to use that clay that we pushed back to create the anti-helix, which sticks up a little bit, not as much as the helix. So if this is your helix, this sticks up more. Your anti-helix does stick up, but not as high. So I'm kind of like shifting the clay around here to create the different heights areas. Okay. where the different pieces go in and out and up and down in the slooping. Okay, and now I'm going to come in here and I'm going to kind of carve this out just a little bit more. Okay, and down to my lobe. You decide if your ear is going to be attached or unattached. Just kind of moving clay around. Okay, and now from here, we're going to take this concha, kind of shape it out. And then I have this part that's called the antitragus. It sticks up. So I want to take any of this clay that I'm carving out and I'm going to shift it and push it to become the antitragus where it bumps up. So what I mean by that is if you look at the picture, here is the antitragus, okay? And then it goes into the integral notch before it comes back to the tragus, okay? So that integral notch is at an angle, like right here, and then this little antitragus bumps up, and then we're gonna sloop down into the antitragus, and then reshaping. And this might be down too low, so I'm gonna have to shift this up a little bit and down because this part slopes down into the ear canal. Okay, so we're going to take that and kind of push it and reshape that part, okay, to give you room for your tragus. Okay, so there's my antitragus, reshaping my concha. I think I just got too high on this. I need to go down a little bit lower and push this around. So we're starting to create that shape right there of the tragus. And then this part sloops down inside. Okay. There we go. Okay. So we got this. Here's the tragus. Here's the antitragus right here. The integral notch. And then as this sloops down right through here, okay, this is where your ear, the actual canal, goes behind the tragus. So if this is your tragus, this little bump, we're gonna go ahead and cut a deep hole right here just so you can see the value shift. The ear canal coming behind the tragus. Okay, and then the concha needs cleaned up. Now that I've shifted all that clay around, I've got to start blending and smoothing out and all of that. And then this has to get pushed down a little bit more. As you're working, you're gonna see like, okay, well that needs to go up more, this needs to come down more, this needs to go up. And there's gonna be some back and forth, and that's totally fine. Okay, that kind of happens when you're sculpting. So there's the ear canal. There's where it comes down inside. I'm just kind of shifting this clay around. And then up here, there's supposed to be a little nodule that sticks out. So I carved away too much clay, no big deal. I'm gonna add a little piece right through here. And it looks really big right now, but as I start pushing and blending, it's gonna even out. I think that's the biggest mistake people make, is they don't put enough clay on to begin with, and then they have to keep adding and adding and adding to make it look right. Just start with more, it's easier to carve away. Okay, so I got that little, it's called the no, what is it called? I'm trying to remember what that little bump is called. It's a little bit bigger than I'd like, so I can carve away. It's a little easier, like I said, to carve away than add again and again and again. And And then I just wanna, and at this point now I'm just kind of redefining, reshaping, cleaning, smoothing, and cleaning up the ear as a whole. And then we come down here and you can start defining other parts of the ear. Like there's a little dent here, there's a little dent here. And you can begin to add those just by pushing a little bit into your clay. Okay. I like this to be a little more squared off. And this to be a little bigger. Okay. It will look right with your shadows. And then I'm gonna have to lift the ear up because it gets pushed down a little bit. And then if you need to, you can come and scrape away a little bit of those layers if they are a little thick. Ah, don't scrape too much. They like to get caught. This is where water is gonna be helpful. And that's your basic ear shape. And then what I do is I usually will come in and then from the back, I'm going to be pushing or pulling away some of this clay and putting it more at an angle. Okay, because sometimes it gets a little too thick when you add that coil, but I feel like it helps students to see the beginnings of the ear by adding that coil. It's a little easier. If you don't want to start with a coil, you just want to carve in, it definitely is the way I've done it in the past, and it's fine too. I'm just gonna carve away some of that clay. Okay, and then I can use a paintbrush and a little water, and I accidentally carved through right there, so I'm gonna have to add some clay in there to make sure I don't have a hole. And then I can continue cleaning and smoothing and blending, and everything begins to look like an ear as you're cleaning it up. You might have to do a little bit more work back and forth. Like I said, totally normal. Maybe have to pull it and push it around. Okay. That is your basic ear shape. Okay, and everybody's, like I said, everybody's gonna look a little bit different because no two ears are exactly identical, and that's okay. Just making sure it's connected here in the back because it came unconnected when I was cleaning and moving and shifting. Okay, hopefully this helps.